Hi, everyone. It's your boy Zach, and I'm very, very excited to bring to you probably the greatest cultural achievement of all of human history, which is Soul Plane, the movie from 2004 with who we got there? Kevin Hart, Snoop Dogg, Method Man, Tom Arnold, Terry Crews, a bunch of other people you recognize from a million UPN comedies, and it's very, very much a time capsule of D.L. Hughley, Jonathan Witherspoon. Oh my gosh, there's so many people in this movie. So, that being said, there is always a twinge of sadness whenever I discuss Soul Plane, because I have a friend who is black, and he's still black. He stayed black the entire time, and he hates Soul Plane. And I don't mean like he doesn't like the movie, like it bothers him deep in his soul. So the when I was watching this, I was always trying to think, is like, what is the part that really, really bothers him? And I think it's specifically the two security guard characters, because they're stupid, loud, racist idiots, and all of their scenes go on probably 100% longer than they need to. So, Soul Plane is a movie about scuttling Kevin Hart's career for 10 years. This came out in 2004. And if you remember, Kevin Hart only really became big about, 5 or 6 years ago? So, 10 years wandering in the desert. I remember seeing this. I didn't see it at the time. I hated it. The trailers made me angry. It's flopping in the theaters made me happy. And then, like 3 years later, when I was stationed in Germany, you had the base library. The base library kind of doubled as, the Blockbuster. Had a whole bunch of DVDs to rent. Pretty good collection, and also Soul Plane. So I got it just to roast it. I was like, this is going to be so terrible. And then I laughed again, mild, little smile. Yeah, that wasn't that funny, and laugh. First of all, it's got one of my things I love the most about movies. It's short. I'm talking with beginning and end credits. I think it might be 86 or 87 minutes. It's if you saw it in the theater during the day, the sun was pretty much at the same point in the sky when you came out. It's real dumb. It's really crass. It's very blue collar. It has a little bit of a heart, but it's just kind of a dumb entertainment. So it's about Nashon Wade. That's how they get to be NWA. Ha ha ha. That's so they say that, but you're not even like, they'll do other things to make you laugh. That's like some dumb screenwriter stuff. So anyway, he's traveling on airline. He ends up getting almost sucked into the bathroom, and then his dog gets ejected out and into a jet and dies, and he sues, and he gets a huge judgment of $500 million. And then just randomly he says, I'm going to start an airline. To which I don't know. I don't think this is realistic. Number one, you're going to have taxes. Number two, he starts an airline with only one plane, and it's an older style plane. It's like the old double-decker planes where they would have like a bar at the top. I just feel like this is the most assailable part of Soul Plane. I don't think you can start an airline for $500 million, because you got to pay your lawyer fees, you got to pay taxes. What's left? $200 million afterwards. Now I know he just bought one plane, and maybe that plane is quote only $40-50 million, but you still got to do incorporation. I'm guessing probably in Delaware, Connecticut, most likely Delaware. You got to go through all the FAA training, and I just feel like it's not realistic. Okay, so moving on. So he goes there, and then they set it up. So like the entry point is this white family called the Hunkies. Get it? Okay. And it's Tom Arnold, this blonde woman you've seen in a million comedies, and his two kids. And then it just gets, it's just stupid. Like, it's the stupidest. Now, if you get angry when comedies are too stupid, that's another thing that's going to bother you, because these are the most like low class. I'm not even going to say them like unoriginal. Some of them are kind of original, but they're just like dumb. Like the what do you call it? The plane is divided into high class and low class, and high class looks really nice. And then you go to low class, and it literally looks like the inside of a bus. Like your locker has one of those keys, and you got to put a quarter in it to pull it out. They pass around Popeye's chicken. Okay, so that's the part. Yeah, that's the part that bothers my buddy. He didn't say that specifically, but like the jokes are stupid. But then the execution is pretty good because it looks like they gave the actors and actresses a lot of leeway for kind of vamping, and you get some people who are really good, like Jonathan Witherspoon. Now he's saying this dialogue, which is just like a blind guy can't see things. Like that's the joke, but like his execution of some pretty trash dialogue is hilarious. Just little dumb things like what do you call it? Mispronouncing food. He's in high class because his nephew or his grandkid or something like that bought him a ticket. He's like, you're going to have to help me around, Tenderoni. I'm used to riding the bus. But then, oh gosh, the pièce de résistance. The point at which you get into the movie where you're like, how did we get here? And you almost kind of want to do the doff your hat move. There is a scene in there where earmuffs, he believes he is having a romantic liaison with the woman next to him, but he's actually fingering a baked potato. And it is so stupid, and I can't imagine how bad it looks in a script. You know, you got to imagine this is getting approved by executives. It's probably one of the funniest things because he just thinks he's the biggest ladies man ever, and everyone's just horrified. And it was a baked potato. Yeah, there's literally scenes where Tom Arnold goes into the bathroom, and it's like a club bathroom, so they have an attendant, but it's just a one-person bathroom. And it's D.L. Hughley, and he's like spraying deodorant. Oh God, it's so dumb. It's so hard to describe this movie because it's awful, but it's so damn funny in the stupidest way possible. The weirdest thing is, I read an article yesterday, and it was talking about comedy because I've been noticing this just anecdotally. I was like, where did the comedies go? Like comedies are gone. And I remember it used to be back in the day, every year you would have that huge successful comedy, whether it be Ghostbusters or The Hangover, and just everyone would talk about it. It would become like a cultural touchstone. And then that's just gone. Like now it's just like Amy Schumer. She owns a worm farm. And she's dating. Like that's like nobody sees it. So I read this article yesterday and they were talking about, yes, comedies have effectively disappeared. They went from this huge part of the marketplace to like 8%. And even the 8%, they're not doing very good. They're all doing like 20 million, even with glowing reviews. And it's because the elephant in the room that they didn't talk about in the article is that everyone is so scared. I sometimes I get in the bad habit of saying everyone is offended by everything, and that's absolutely not true. Everyone is offended by everything on Twitter, and studios and investors and writers and actors and everyone are just terrified of that. So they write in this really, Jennifer Lopez, she's in the corporate world and balancing that with romance. That's the joke. Like what? It's like these are horrible. You can't even make it through the trailer. There used to be a thing where you'd go see like whatever Paul Blart Mall Cop, and they'd be like, "How is it?" You're like, all the good jokes were in the trailer. The trailers aren't even that funny. You can't even just get 2 minutes of jokes to do a trailer for Amy Schumer or Jennifer Lopez. Even the Kevin Hart movies, it's like, it's a Kevin Hart comedy. What's he doing? Helping a paralyzed old rich guy. Fun? Fun? So Soul Plane is definitely the opposite of that. It is the apocalypse to the current comedy New Genesis. That movie is stupidly offensive and stupid and offensive. That might be a video title. But has a weirdly good heart, except for a couple places where you're like, where is the joke? There's no... So at one point, everyone ges terrified because a Muslim guy gets on the plane, but there's no like twist. We never find out that he's the air marshal. You know what I mean? And he just is dressed like in very stereotypical like shepherd like Muslim attire. And then the two security guards, which again, I'm pretty sure 95% of the reason my buddy hates this show are the two security guards. They are complete negative stereotypes of black women with no redeeming features. Whereas other people, you'll have like Method Man, and he'll be like the street hustler always looking for a scam. But at the end, the plane's about to crash. He literally gets like, and he doesn't just put a parachute on. It's like this whole outfit. And he's talking to his cousin, Kevin Hart. He's like, let's go. And then Kevin Hart's like, no, this is our responsibility. So later at the end, Method Man mans up, or he Method Mans up. Got him. And he ends up being the co-pilot. Like he steps up. They have Tom Arnold. He's like the cliche, like suburban white dad, and he's all intimidated by black guys. At one point, one of them's like hitting on his girlfriend. And all he can say is, you might want to go back to your seat because they're about to serve dinner. Like he doesn't have it into him. He's like, get the hell out of my seat. Quit hitting on my girlfriend. But later his daughter is in the club and he thinks a whole bunch of stuff is about to happen to her. And so he's about to go fight Terry Crews. Terry Crews is like, whoa, oh no, I got a daughter too. Yeah, go on in, because he wasn't letting him in. So he has a little, and then him and his daughter have a thing, they have an arc where she's, growing up too fast and blah, blah, blah. But, most of the characters have some, there's a really funny thing with Kevin Hart and his girlfriend, who the actress, I forget her name, but she's beautiful, where they have like a fairly serious love story, but then it's done, like at one point they're doing a flashback to the breakup, and it's him at the, it's him at the door, the screen door, and he's telling her, it's like, I got to break up with you, and she's heartbroken because it came out of nowhere, although later on we find out, and it's actually a really like kind of beautiful scene, oddly enough. But then he's doing the breakup, and he's really acting his heart out, but then since it's like the hood, they're doing the sounds of planes, going by overhead really low because they live right by the airport, police helicopters, sirens, ambulances. So it's actually a really funny bit to do. That being said, can I say anything more about it? Snoop Dogg is actually really good. I'm surprised. I know Snoop Dogg's been in some comedies. I mean, more like 15 years ago. I'm surprised Snoop Dogg never became like almost like a Kevin Hart. I think it's because they always gave him like trash. Was he ever like the 100% lead of a movie? I remember he was in a movie with Wiz Khalifa, but he was almost more like, I don't know, like you know what I mean? He pops in other things. Like he's freaking hilarious. I think his character's name is Cal. But anyway, he he gets a job as a pilot, and he's never flown before. He just learned on simulators, and Kevin Hart's like, I thought your resume says you flew in Iraq. And then he's like, oh, no, that's a typo. I drew in Iraq. I'm the guy who drew on the bombs, like F you, Saddam. He goes, but I'm not supposed to talk about that. That's classified. And then Kevin Hart, he's getting all apoplectic, and he's like, you drawing on bombs, but that's classified. And then later, he gets the plane up. He does it all correctly and very, very smooth. But then he gets up there and he's on the plane. He's like, he's on the PA system, and he's like, we're cruising here at 33,000 feet. 33,000 feet. That don't make no sense. And he starts having a panic attack. But then you find out that he like, this is so like offensive. He went to the same school as the Taliban. He's like, they're like, the state paid for me to, learn to be a pilot. And then his co-pilot, who's from Africa, he's like, you learned to fly in the prison? He goes, don't be mad that I spent your money to get a good education. He sells it so well. And then he's like, yeah, man. He goes, I miss my homies. And then he shows a picture, and then the co-pilot who's all angry because he has actual experience, but he's not the pilot. He's like, "These are his homies, the Taliban," and then they start playing like this Middle Eastern music over there. You're like, "Oh my gosh, this is so stupid." And then like, oh god, like none of this movie you could film right now. Like the co-pilot's name is Gaemon, but everyone says Gay Man, and so there's like a million jokes based on his name. They have a flight attendant who's a real flamer stereotype, and his name is Flame. And he's there's a point where he's like telling a story about like makeups and breakups, and then he's kind of like behind Kevin Hart's he's behind Kevin Hart's shoulder, and then Flame starts getting excited by his romantic stories, and then Kevin Hart is like, "Whoa, did you just grind on me?" And then Flame goes, "A little." Like it's stupid, but I had a lot of fun watching it. I haven't seen it in, I don't know, 5-10 years, but it was hilarious, except for some points where you're like, that's not a joke, that's just a really negative stereotype. But it was in the past, made 15 years ago. So like I said, this completely destroyed Kevin Smith's career, and for like 10 years he had to go back to doing stand-up. He insists that it was a success, but it was bootlegged like 3 months before it came out. So he goes, yeah, it made $14 million in the theaters. On the streets, it made $40 million, but in the theaters, it made $14 million. So, I would give it a recommend. Go check it out. I do think that there are some people. I've seen these BuzzFeed videos where like they show 20-year-olds from right now. They show them Seinfeld, and they're like, "This is so offensive." So there are people who can get offended by anything. There are parts right here where you're like, I'm pretty sure that was offensive even in 2004. Like, there's no real joke. It's just but that's like 1-2% of the movie. The rest of it is it's basically Airplane. It's that style of comedy. Airplane mixed with UPN, mixed with Friday, mixed with the funniest dude in your classroom when you were in high school, cracking jokes about his uncle, type of thing. So anyway, thanks for watching. I can't believe I talked 18 minutes about Soul Plane. Thanks for watching, and well, I have no idea where I'm going to go after Soul Plane. What am I going to do next? I don't know. The Maltese Falcon? I don't know. I got a whole bunch of stuff in my watch list on Amazon Prime Video. It'll be one of those videos. Thanks for watching. Bye.